morning to the team here. So, and welcome to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. This is the opening of the executive budget hearing here.
Please stop that activity. Please stop it before they don't you come by little. They have to open start.
Good morning. Good morning to the team. And let me recognize the Ministry of Agriculture here this morning. Welcome to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning for this official opening ceremony of the executive budget hearing here at the 10th floor this hour. This is in fulfillment of the PFM law that requires that a committee be set up to listen to spending entities about some of the progress that they've made in the fiscal year, some of their plan, the aspiration for next year, and explain to us the rationale behind some of the cost drivers, and for us to also understand some of the challenges that they face as institutions. So as we progress through this, we're going to have introduction that's going to be done by the Finance Minister on the Boston page form, and also an overview of this hearing is going to be done by Honorable Chief Bronson, and it's going to be followed by presentation from the ministry that are here today. Today is the first day, and we are taking two sectors, the agriculture sector and the commerce sector. And after the presentation from agriculture, it's going to be followed by question and answer. The panel here today, we have 5 institutions represented here forming the panel. So before we progress, we'll go through introduction so you can be acquainted with those that are here, and from there we'll go through the program. Thank you so much. So I'm going to start with myself. I'm Sarah M. Boban. I'm the Assistant Minister for Budget at the Ministry of Finance.
I'm Papa was a good man. I was at General Services Agent. I was thinking of Minister of Finance. Cornelia
Wonkelectura, Deputy Minister for Administration, Ministry of State.
My name is Delegation Controller, Ministry of
Good morning. My name is P. Photon Blasen. I'm the Assistant Minister of Administration, Ministry of Agriculture.
So I am
James Minister of Agriculture.
Okay, we're there assisted by our technical team. We have the analysts from the Budget and Planning Department that are responsible for the entities that are here today. So you see Director, Assistant Director, the technical staff are responsible to manage the agriculture budget. And we also have team from the fiscal affairs here that manage also provide data on resource mobilization. So the team from the Minister TrueLiberia unit, they are also here this morning to form part of this. And our technical team for the budget policy and coordination unit and coordinate all of the findings from this meeting. So I want to say thank you for coming, and we'll now turn over to the Finance Minister for a proper introductory statement.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Friend and brother, Dr. J. Alexander Muta, Assistant Minister of Plaza, Controller of Funable, and your team. Let me recognize the Director General of the General Services Agency, Honorable Kotimai. At least we know how rules to determine how he can do the building. He's right on my left, and my deputy for budget and planning, Honorable Talent Brunson. Honored to have in our midst the Deputy Minister of State, representing the Ministry of State, who may have later, as we proceed, a representative representative, if not the chairperson of the PPCC will send representative, and also the CSA. I think they're on their way. We are launching a very important process. As you know, by law, we are required by the PFM law to submit the budget not later than the 31st of October of the fiscal year, the preceding fiscal year. This is the budget for 2026. And so we do not just sit and allocate numbers arbitrarily to ministries, agencies, and commissions, and other spending entities. We go through a thorough process, and part of the process is to hear from the budget spenders. We want to hear, we know many things in your sector, we don't know everything. You will know the best way to allocate our little. What we want is to achieve what is called allocated efficiency, and we want to achieve effectiveness. The overarching plan that we have is the arrest agenda for inclusive development, the AID, in which we have set out for ourselves targets for the next 5 years. All the sectors are within the agenda. And for you, agriculture, I always note this with appreciation. Even before we could conclude the arrest agenda, Honorable Minister and your team, you are gone, working with your partners and stakeholders to put together a National Agricultural Development Plan, the NADP, and that it made it easy for us, costing in upwards of 700 million or so, if I'm not mistaken. And I love your ambition. I love your ambition. And everyone heading a government entity should be ambitious to do more for the people. So we are not scared about your 700 million. We are not scared. You know, it means that you want to do a whole lot. We in the budget process always faced with scarcity. Scarcity is a constant. Last year, in terms of just the minimum request that the spending entities give us, you know, the spending entities are more than 2 billion in the United States dollars. And we had to fit that in an envelope of 880 million. This year's budget is a growth over last year's budget, which was around 738 million. A significant growth. But if you just oppose the basic requests that came from spending entities versus the budget, you will know that there's a huge part of plans and proposals that we could not fund. This year will be like that. But we have to make progress in spite of it. We expect next year's budget in terms of amount to be higher than this year. That's our plan. And we're working tooth and nail with all actors, the Liberia Revenue Authority and many other revenue generators. And to some extent, even some folks, some entities that are on the spending side, what they do, they enable revenue generation. So I want to say to you, Mr. Minister, that we've come to hear from you, to query you, to take notes, and to do our best to prioritize the priorities. You always say, I cannot forget, that the arrest agenda starts with an A, and the A is agriculture. So that's why when we decided to do budget hearing, we start with no other person than you, the head of our agriculture sector. At least minimally, that's the kind of significance we gave. I know that you also want the significance to be translated into cash. But we've shown to you, based on what was allocated in the past, what we are doing this year, there's a material growth. We did not meet your ambition. As ambitious as you are, it will be a tall order to meet your ambition. But what we assure you is that where you are today, it's better than yesterday, and where you will be tomorrow, 2026, will definitely be better than 2025. That's the assurance we gave you. How much better? 4 times? The conversation will determine. So welcome again, although it's not here, but protocol would demand that we at least give the Minister of Agriculture, some time to make introductory comments before we go into the overview of the executive hearing, which will be given by Mrs. Bronson. So, Mr. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, and let me say thanks to the team here at MLAP. Like you said, agriculture has been one of the sectors in our economy in the past that has not been financed. Even though agriculture is the most important sector in the economy, accounting for 70% of the population and contributing over 30% to our GDP, which means the sector performs better, our economy grows better, and people's life livelihood becomes better. That's why when we knew we were going to be in the sector, we went ahead to say, what can we do to put this country on par with others in terms of improving livelihood for people and giving them the tool that they need to become economically important in their own country. In the past, we tried to do analysis. Our budget has never gone beyond 1% until last year we saw that our budget was actually 1.7%. Of course, we gave that glory to the current Minister of Finance for seeing at least we didn't meet our expectations, but at least we saw the importance of the sector and tried to increase the fiscal envelope that went to the sector. This year is critical because the AARD is enforcing. There are indicators set in the AARD that we as Ministry of Agriculture are supposed to be meeting. Those indicators are in alignment with what we did in the NADP. So the need to even do more than what we did last year is even more compelling than it has ever been. Recently, I was talking to a development partner. We were asking them to support us. And I was saying that is the master calculation. One of the first questions they asked me, so what is the government's contribution to the agriculture sector? How compliant is your government with the Mandatory Declaration? And now what they call the Kampala Declaration. And that declaration calls for government allocation of 10% of our fiscal envelope to development agriculture. And the basis for that is, in sub-Saharan Africa, over 70% of the population depend on agriculture. And they told us that agriculture is the true path through which economies in this continent, or this continent, will be able to develop themselves. So, the African Union has agreed and mandated that we as national government support our agriculture sector to be able to address the issue of poverty and honor development in our rural communities. That has been our focus. But Liberia has not been able to even reach 5%, not even 2%. In the model world union, the 3 countries, for the 4 countries we have here, Liberia is the least in terms of military allocation to the agriculture sector. Sierra Leone is now doing about 5%. Guinea is around 6%, and Cote d'Ivoire, of course, has another agricultural country that is doing more than 8% agricultural allocation. And for Liberia, I assessed the budget from 25 to 2025. It was split twice that we have about 1%. In 2013, the budget was 1.2% of the national budget, and this year we got around 1.7%, which is a plus. But we are still far away from the mark that is there. We are still very far away from the expectation that the international or the police in the sub-region have for us. Of course, Liberia is not the only country that is not maybe 10%. I know there are other countries that are not doing it. But given the importance of our sector in the economy, I think we need to step up and do better so that at least the population out there can actually appreciate what the government is doing. I've had a chance to go through all this country. Even I used to stay here before, and we all know what the argument would be. But seeing the fight and the reality on the ground makes it even more compelling for the fiscal authority to see the compelling need to step up the budget for the agricultural sector. So, Honorable Minister, I'm happy that we had a chance to be the first to present today. The rest of the sector actors will be coming. And when I say 1.7%, I'm referring to the entire fiscal allocation for agriculture sector in general, not just the visual agriculture. I mean for CDA, for MACRA, for CARI, and all the other agencies. So we want to see more done this year. So thank you for this opportunity. We'll be answering your questions, we present and answer the questions. And it is our expectation that at the end of the day, the DA in the agriculture, in the arrest in general will be remembered, and the need for being done to get a sector viable as it ought to be. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Before we go to Mrs. Bronson, I just wanted to stress 1 or 2 points. It's interactive, and the hearing has actually begun. We are trying to modernize the budget and to be able to capture information more concretely and more prominently. The flow of funds to sector ministries come through partners and also come directly through government. And we are the ones working with you that agree and direct partner support to agriculture, education, and others. A significant portion of partner support is not on budget, but partner support, most of which comes through financing, loans that the Liberian people pay back, it's also part of the emphasis we give to agriculture and others. So if agriculture has significant partner support, is because the government is giving significant support, pushing the partners that this is a sector that we consider very significant. Like the World Bank has developed a new country program framework, and in that framework, agriculture is one key pillar. over the next 5 to 6 years, the World Bank is going to spend almost 500 million. And we are thinking of putting more funds in agribusiness and others through World Bank support. The financing that comes from the World Bank, you know, it's not going to be grant. It is the idea fund, and that the country pays back. And although the terms are concessional, 40-year repayment, but we pay. So if the World Bank is giving you funds, the Liberian people giving you the funds. So in a way, if you get money from the World Bank, we are giving you the money as a government. If you get money from the ADB, we are giving you the money. And in that respect, this sector is one of the richest sectors. So in other jurisdictions, what they do, all these protocols, I think the people go to these capitals, they get, are you the Maputo Declaration?
It's Kampala
Declaration. Okay. For you, it's Kampala Declaration for Agriculture. One other sector has Maputo Declaration.
It was Maputo before.
Okay, Maputo. Then they have one. I think education is Abuja Declaration. Every sector has some capital declaration. So when you bring all those declarations together, just put all of them together, the budget is finished. When the budget is finished, about 10 sectors, you put all when the sector leaders go to some capital, they see themselves, they see the world from their sector perspective. They say every budget, every country, the minimum should be 20%. Okay, you are 15, right? 10. Okay, that is another sector goes somewhere 15%. Dr. Koto and I we used to have a very interesting, the late Dr. Koto, very interesting conversation. I think that we need to start to do it. In fact, part of it is to the transparency, so that we know the total fund that is going to a sector. What we gave through the government budget, sometimes they be a piece of the pie. And so when we discuss it, who takes care of the personnel costs going forward? And sometimes that cost may not have actualized, but you tell us 2 years, 3 years from now, get prepared. We will need more manpower. We will need electricity. It's the partner support, but we take care of that. So I just wanted to give it. We will, in spite of that, besides partners, what we're taking from our own budget, you know, we increase your support from what it was. We intend keeping all factors constant to increase. So that's the assurance I give you, and then we can now ask.
The minister will be leaving. I think he will not be here. But let's get this clear. You know, I like the way you put it. We also are very aware of the donor support. So what I do normally, we look at the annual work plan of this project and see how much is budgeted for the year. And we include it. Because when I go to these conferences and people are talking about how Liberia is not performing, I want to be able to say something. So I don't just go and say, well, gosh, the government is supporting. So we go and get what we plan to say for, say, recap. What is the annual budget based on the work plan? What we want to invest, and then we add that to our budget from Ministry of Finance. Say that this is what we are investing in the economy in the agriculture sector. So when we go to sit with our partner department, we say, well, this is the reality. We make all the arguments beyond our government in the absence of new performance. We are not saying, well, the ministry is not.
No, I can show you, Mr. Minister, let's start the examining here. I can assure you that we're going to do more.
Thank you.
And this sector is important. You rightly said it. 30% of GDP, 70% of the workforce. We're going to do more to take it from rudimentary agriculture, you know, agribusiness intention, adding value in agriculture. We're going to do more. So let me now ask the Deputy Minister to give the overview, and then we'll start to to query you on certain things, but one of the things we want to know, you know, this is iterative, this is, it'll be overly formal here, you know, but the recurrent cost implication, you may not have it as compared to works, public works. Sometimes the, what we call the counterpart contributions. There are projects that are funded by partners. Some of those projects, they require counterpart funding from the government. And some of the reasons why projects do not succeed is that government gets notoriously late, and sometimes government neglects its counterpart contribution. That has been a problem of the past. We don't want that problem to recur under this administration. So in these hearings, if you have any such situation that you know for some partner support project to move on, to deliver on time, government needs to do X, Y, Z. Those are the kind of notes we'll be taking through as we start to get ready to query you on other matters. But let's move on.
Mr. Minister, I think